an
right.
error at me.
Okay, I'll babble to
Oh,
myself.
hey, now we're live. Look at that.
Okay,
Fourth
that's
time's a charm.
I know what I need to do. I need to put my headphones on, and then I'll hear you better. Julie Loken, what's going on? We're talking social proof today. Tom, you talk away. Let me get my headphones on.
All right, sounds good. What's up, Julie? What's up, everybody? Welcome to Not the Smartest Guys in the Room. I'm Tom. My buddy Dom is getting his headphones situated. No countdown today on the live stream for some reason. It was giving me all kinds of headaches about going live. I think it's because, I honestly think it's because the platform formerly known as Twitter, which I'm just going to keep calling Twitter, now has a thing where you have to have a paid subscription to go live. It's dumb, and it was giving me grief about having a paid subscription to go live, and I don't appreciate it. So anyway, I think that was the problem. Probably now sound a little bit better, Dom. I think that was the problem that we were encountering as we were going live. Hey, weird. Elon Musk's platform was having trouble going live. Strange how websites glitch after you lay off 90% of the staff. Anyway, enough about that. Welcome to Not the Smartest Guys in the Room. We are talking about social proof today. The topic kind of came to the front of my mind actually because on Monday I put up a post. Anybody who's been here before, Dom is sick of hearing me say this, I'm sure at this point, but knows that I have this overriding philosophy to lead with value always, right? It's one of the core principles in my book, Legendeering. It's something I talk about all the time. And I put up a post on Monday morning, and literally the first line of the text of that post was, I'm going to beat the hide off of this drum, which I don't know if it's a saying or not, but I liked it. Sounded good to me. But I said, I'm going to beat the hide off of this drum. And then it was the graphic of lead with value always, that I've shared before, that I say all the time. And then yesterday, sure enough, I open up LinkedIn and the first post I see is a post from Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm sure everybody knows who I'm talking about. I know Julie knows because she went to VCon and actually interviewed Gary V last year. But there's a post from Gary Vaynerchuk that says that the people and the businesses that win on social media, or the brands that win on social media and in business, are the ones that deliver or provide the most value, right? Which essentially echoes the sentiment of my philosophy, which is to lead with value always. And so I was thinking about social proof and the value that provides. What you get from it when you see people, other people in, related industries. Gary Vaynerchuk is famously in marketing and advertising as his sort of main business. When you see other people in similar related industries echoing the same sentiments you espouse, what the value is of that, and then also thinking of social proof in the context of testimonials and reviews and why they carry so much weight. So that's what I was thinking about talking about today. What do you think, Dom?
Tom, I'm in. I love the subject. Me and Tom go back and forth over what the subject might be from time to time, and he brought up this one, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sold. So social proof is something that I'll approach it, whether, since Julie's sitting beside us here, and you were both at Creative Con this past year. We have testimonials from people that were there. We have photos of people that were there having a good time and things like that. And that's the social proof behind it. The endorsements, and Laura was able to say that 80% had a good time and said they'd come back and that kind of thing. Social proof. When I post pictures of my authors holding books, like, that's my favorite picture. I love when the authors open their books for the first time, or when they make a short video and they're reaching in the box and there's that wonder and amazement of opening their book for the first time. For me, it's the ultimate social proof. It's an endorsement of my authors, and it is social proof that we can make the dream come true, that this is something that you aspire to, you want it done right, and I'm comfortable when they open that box that it isn't going to have like a doodle on the front of the cover or something that embarrasses me. I know it's going to deliver. So I'm all in on this subject of social proof. Let's do it, Tom.
Sounds good to me, buddy. And yeah, I mean, I think social proof is important, not just for so for me, it's always nice to get that validation, that external validation that social proof can provide. For example, like with that post from Gary Vee that I reshared yesterday, and I talked about it in the newsletter that I have coming out later today. One of the things, that it provides for me is, sort of evidence that I'm on the right track, right? That I'm going in the right direction. And that's something as an entrepreneur, right? Sometimes it's hard to tell. Sometimes you feel like you're operating a little bit in a vacuum, and it's hard to tell if you're on the right track. But getting social proof, getting that external validation from social proof can really kind of help point you in the right direction, or give you the idea that you're moving, in a positive way. I just want to kind of set the stage for giving some context here in terms of the other ways we're talking about it, whether that's reviews or testimonials, right? That really what we're talking about, or what it boils down to, is essentially building trust, right, with your audience or with your community. And I just want to throw a couple of quick numbers out at folks to have in the back of your minds as we go forward with this conversation. And that is that 72% of customers say that positive reviews and testimonials make them trust a business more, right? 72%, so almost 3/4 of customers say that positive reviews will have them trusting a business more. And 88%, nearly 90% of consumers say that they trust online reviews as much as a personal recommendation, as much as they would a personal recommendation. And that's essentially how testimonials translate into, positive shine for a company or an organization, is people look at them as essentially a personal recommendation online. So I just wanted to use those two things to set the stage. Why don't we just go to, I got Julie next. She was in here first. So why don't we go to Julie? Julie, why don't you tell us what social proof means to you, and how you value it, or why you value it in your own professional life?
Well, it's so important, right? Because you want to be believed and to build that credibility, first of all. And the first thing everybody in this room and whoever's listening needs to do is make sure they have a Google business, because that's social proof right there, to bring in those testimonials and to understand that it's not just about posting on social media. You want to enhance your brand reputation, right? So if you get awards, and let's just use that Gary Vee interview. I mean, that was a year ago, but I understood by having those optics that would be social proof for people to come and say, oh, wow, she sat down and had a combo with Gary Vee. And I didn't realize at the time, but I did quickly thereafter, that really built credibility for me. So just understanding that those testimonials, those optics are so important. So I just really want everyone to think about that and make sure you have a Google business. No matter what you do, have a Google business, because that helps immensely with social proof. And Dom, by the way, you have a knowledge panel. I just wanted to let you know. And it's probably because you have a new podcast out.
Do I have a knowledge panel for Motivation Champs and Dominick Domasky, or is it Dominick?
I see Domasky. Dominick
Yeah,
Domasky.
interesting. Yeah.
And that just shows that you're doing the right thing, So
yeah, and basically to do those knowledge panels, all you got to do is like put your license in, verify it with your business.
but you need to be out there. You need to be in all different places.
True. So you, to Julie's point, you do need to be out there. But once you're out there, it is not a hard lift to go to Google and get the the knowledge panel. So to Julie's point, you should go do it. And Google being one of the biggest search engines in the world, it seems pretty valuable to do business with them, which is why I use Google Ads, because I have for years. And people say, if you're going to do business with, if you think Google is going to show your ads and show your website and things like that, the biggest one of the Magnificent Seven, if you think they are going to just let you work their algorithms and stuff and you're not going to pay them, you are fighting a losing battle. So I do believe in that premise a little bit. So that's why I use the Google Ads. So, okay, sorry, I sidebarred, whatever you want to call that. I could go down that way. So we're talking social proof, Tom. My tan is still pretty good. Speaking of side notes, man, it's been a good summer for tanning. Starting to get cloudy. As fall comes, it depresses me a little bit because the rays aren't as good this time of year. I'm learning about UV from my daughter's friends. I hear my daughter and her friends talking about what's the UV today and all that. But okay, we will continue. Go on, Tom.
And that's why I always wear sunblock.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna have to send you. There's this amazing side-by-side picture, and I don't know how much you're gonna like this, but I'll send it to you. There's an amazing side-by-side picture of a set of twins. And one of the twins was like wore sunblock and was careful about her sun exposure, and the other one sunbathed a lot. And it's pretty dramatic, the effect that it has on your skin. So
one looks like Hulk Hogan and the other one's pasty. Uh-huh.
One looks like a catcher's mitt, and the other one looks like a healthy person.
Okay. All right, let's talk social proof. John Jay, we're coming to you, man. Social proof, does it matter to you? How do you gauge it? Do you look at it? What's it mean to you?
This is going to blow a lot of people's skirts up. I really don't care one bit about social proof. I don't care one bit about references or ratings or reviews on my podcast, although I have probably about 1,800. I don't push it at all, because I don't think it has any bearing whatsoever on what I do. Having said that, I don't sell something. So if you are selling something, I think social proof is important if you have a service. But for what I do, it's really a unique listener experience. If they're listening to the podcast or the radio show, or they're a consumer on Facebook, they're consuming for different reasons. And I have never once checked someone else's reviews before I decided to do business with them. It's about
really, John.
Never once.
Are you even like if you're going to get your teeth done or a medical thing?
Never.
Well, you're an anomaly, I think.
No, I don't think I'm an anomaly. I think I'm the majority. Most people don't care. And why would I make a decision based off what one person says about a business, good or bad, when I don't know them? And I don't even know if they're legit, if they have experience or not.
Okay. Hold on.
John, I want to poke the
Go
bear,
on, Julie.
John.
Go on.
Well, like, how can you not say, like, if you're going to a restaurant, you see, oh, is this good? Or a book, if you want to read a book. Or like, let's say a dentist, because, like I'm having major surgery here in a couple of weeks. I'm going to make sure there's nothing bad, in terms of his background, or there's people saying, oh, I died on the table, or my sister died on the table. I'm going to make sure, and for John, who is a radio host, maybe I want to look to see if I want you to be on my show or be a partner. I'm going to Google your name. And if you're not there, if there's like shit said about you, I'm not going to be doing business with you. Okay. Poking the bear. And all the love I have, by the way.
My wife and I go to a restaurant like once a week. We've never checked a review ever to see what someone else says. We've never done that with getting a doctor. Never done that with getting a dentist.
Really?
Hey, hold on.
Ever.
Okay. But so I'm not a big guy that goes to like the reviews on Google or something like that. I'm not one to look at restaurants like that or something. But I think I have 3 hernias right now. So my buddy just had his hernia surgery, and I said, who did you go to? You know, so I trust my friend, and I said, was it normal? This. I didn't like the last guy. So is that, John, would you consider that social proof?
No, what I do is I'm like you, Dominic. I will talk to people I know, and I'll find out, hey, who'd you go to? Were you happy with their service? And I'll be guided by that. But ultimately, my decision is based on how they interact with me. And I know this sounds really contrary, but we are inundated with people who I decide I'm not going to like you because someone else decides they don't like you. By the way, they found out they never even met you. They have you have no influence in their life, but they decided they don't like you. So I'm making a decision based off that. I don't know whether those reviews, we use Yelp reviews or we use Google business reviews, whatever it is, are legit. Whether they're done by bots, whether they're done by people who are just got an axe to grind, I don't know. So if I go there and you win my business, we're going to be partners for life. I'll continue to go. If you treat me like garbage and I get bad interaction with you, I'll never do it. And by the way, I hate to say it, and Julie and I are the same dentist. I'm going to say this again.
John.
It's a waste of my time and effort to focus on what other people say.
Yeah, but like for something that is medically like invasive,
Yeah.
you don't even do research. That's
No, I don't.
I'm gonna have to do the
room,
research for you. That's all I'm gonna
going
say.
to the emergency room, and you either save my life or you don't.
Yeah, but if you're doing like
one or the other,
I can't believe that you don't check to see doctors.
I don't. I've said it to you 15 times.
Okay,
I never
16
reviews ever.
Okay.
Ever.
All right. Well, you're my perfect client then. Thank you. I'm going to do some medical intervention on you, John. I'm a doctor, by the way.
No, you're a lawyer who doesn't practice anymore, by the way. So, but you get my point, Dominic, Tom, and Jason. Reviews are great, but I don't make my decision based off them, and I don't know of anybody that does. Especially the older they are and the more money you have, they don't focus on what other people have to say. I'm telling you right now, they don't.
You are like the antithesis of everything I want to scream at.
Absolutely.
Today.
And I disagree with you 150% on a lot of what you say, Julie.
Ouch.
But, and that's one thing right there.
We can agree to disagree. Yeah, but that's insane.
I just don't do it.
Okay. Well,
all right,
you're my
hold
perfect
on.
client. You're my perfect client. Thank you.
Julie, thank you, John. You guys rock. Tom, since two people were beating up on people other than you, why don't you have at it?
Yeah, I mean, I totally hear what John's saying, and I think I think a lot of people, I will agree with him to a point, right? And I'll include myself in this. I definitely take online reviews with a grain, a hefty, not just a grain, like a handful of salt, right? I think we all know that if you go on sort of, like Amazon or any other sort of like online retailer website, the reviews you see there may or may not be from actual people, right? Often products that have thousands and thousands of reviews, many of them are reviews submitted by bots, right? So, and there's ways to essentially buy good reviews. There's companies that you can go to, there's people you can go to online where you can pay them and they will have bots deliver good reviews of your product on Amazon to help you rank better on Amazon and sell more on Amazon, right? So like it's a game, and I get that, and I take those kinds of reviews with a huge handful of salt, right? And I will, depending on how interested I am in a product or whatever, I will actually kind of go through and look for ones that I think might be real people, specifically the ones that have pictures usually are actual people. And sometimes I'll look at those reviews to get a better sense of what the sort of end user experience is, rather than just what the retailer wants me to know, or wants me to see. So I do still put a little bit of stock in them, but I heavily weight them based on where I find them. I would argue, though, that taking personal recommendations from people we know is social proof, right? It's just not social proof from strangers. It's social proof from people who are known. Like if you turn to me, Dom, and you knew that, like everybody knows, my wife and I had a kid. Well, my wife had a baby. We welcomed our daughter home a month ago, and we've got a 1-month-old in the house. And if Dom, as a parent of two, turned to me and made a recommendation, I would take that under advisement and take it seriously. Hey, you know what you should look into is get X for the baby, right? Whatever that thing is, you know, I would take that recommendation seriously because it comes from somebody I know and I like and I trust, right? But I wouldn't necessarily take a recommendation from a stranger as seriously, right? So I hear what John's saying. John, you know, is saying he totally ignores, doesn't pay attention to, never looks at reviews from strangers online. That's John's prerogative, but he definitely puts weight to and takes recommendations from people he knows. He's very clearly discerning with the social proof that he accepts and the value that he puts on it. But I would argue that social proof is social proof, whether it comes from somebody known or a stranger. It's just what you put stock in, what you put weight on. But I think they're both kinds of social proof, right? So I would say that, but I totally hear what John's saying, and like, yeah, I have absolutely chosen to completely ignore online reviews and like go to a restaurant or buy something online because I still believed it was a good, or because somebody gave me a personal recommendation for it. They said, ignore the reviews, trust me, it's a good restaurant. And I went and it was great. You know, so like, I hear what John's saying. I hear both sides of it. I mean, I like to do, I like to read those online reviews. Sometimes they're just hilarious too. There's always that, like there is some hilarious reviews of products on Amazon and things. So, you know, sometimes they're fun, but yeah, I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. What do you think, Dom?
I'm loving the conversation, loving the passion, and I just wanted to say in support of what John says, that is some mature ass shit, because John is saying in a way that he is not letting anybody impact his decisions on how he feels about people, what he's going to buy. It's the one-on-one, pretty much the one-on-one relationship. So I get it, you know, and so that's, you know, I hear you there. So he's not letting, man. And on that, so I have to change my mind. I do look at reviews sometimes when I go to like the beach, or if I'm somewhere I've never been, or like, and I'll review restaurants. And everybody that ever reviews a piece of pizza has no idea what they're talking about. I have eaten so many bad pieces of pizza where people are like, oh, this dough roller is the best pizza ever. This is the best. Pinos, Anthony's, this. And I get it. And I'm like, this is the worst piece of pizza. It tastes like my high school cafeteria's pizza was better than that. The thin crust I bought at the grocery store for $3.99 was better. My Totino's. Hey, quick. Does anybody know what a Totino is in this room? It's those little pizzas that are like $1.99. How are they $1.99 and they're still good?
I mean, are they good though?
Yeah, for $1.99, that is packed with value.
I mean, yeah, if you're gonna put that sort of that proviso on it, right? If you're gonna put it in that context, like it's good for $1.99. I'm with you. But is it good in the broader scope of pizza?
I would not positively review if I had to match a slice up with somebody else. Okay, social proof. We're rolling on. Our man Jason, whether it's reviews, whether it's seeing people's shiny teeth at the dentist, whether it's your buddy telling you not the smartest guys in the room is the greatest place and you need to be there. How do you value social proof?
It's kind of like already been stated. It's a mix. I mean, yeah, I can look at reviews and that might give me a reference, but whenever I look at reviews, I never look at the first 4 reviews if there's a lot. I always scroll down. I start with the worst review and then I look at the best and then I look at what's in the middle. Like say like if there's stars like Yelp. Because I just don't trust people's opinions, because to me it's the way that they describe what's the experience like oh, let's say I had chicken parmesan, I had a classico style, and then someone says, oh, classico style sucks. No, you got to try the new ultimate version that they offer, and it's what they describe with When it comes from another person's mouth, I take it in consideration, and that's what it is. It's just consideration. It's not like it has to be, but social proofing has its wins and has its losses, but I don't, unless my life were to depend on it, like it was expressed earlier, like a doctor, a doctor's review, a surgeon, that is something I take extremely careful, because I have had a doctor who had bad reviews, and it was true in form. He was not a very great doctor, and I changed immediately. So I think you have to use um, your own best internal deciding mechanism, and if there's a gut feeling that tells you, go with it. If there's just like so much overwhelming evidence, it's like, you know what, people are saying this and sounds great. All right, go it until it doesn't work. So that's the best answer I can provide.
Thanks, Jason. You know what this made me think of? My dad's been in business like 50 years. And he told me at one point, he said, Dominic, if you've been in business 55 years, 50, I think it is 55, something like that. He said, if you've been in business this long and more people like you than hate you, you're doing a pretty good job. So there is an ebb and flow of business and things like that. It isn't that you did things wrong. It's, hey, you had a lot of customers, and these ones, shouted it from the door. These ones shouted it from the rooftops, and these ones, no, it was just a service for them. So I wonder about that. Not the smartest guys in the room. We're talking social proof. Eric, Stephanie, Simon, what's up? James from across the pond. Tara, Tom's friend Joyce, Jimmy Ajay's in the house. Okay. Hey, speaking of all these people in the house, Billy, Jason, John, Julie, Tom, we appreciate you. We don't do this room. It would be me and Tom talking about my tan for 2 hours and how many weeks old the baby was if it wasn't for each of you. So we appreciate you feeding the conversation. We appreciate you when you beat up on John Jay and not us, and when John beats up on Julie. Love it. Thank you very much. Tom, what do you have to say about all that?
No, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. We do this room for the folks that are here supporting us every week. We try to provide value every week for everybody here through the discussions that we have, the things that we choose to talk about and invite folks to talk about. So we appreciate everybody being here always, always, always. Thanks for joining us. Whether you're joining us here on Clubhouse or somewhere else on the internet, we of course live stream this every week online. So we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitch, we're on LinkedIn. You can find us all over the internet. So in fact, we literally have people right now watching us on all of those platforms. So we appreciate everybody being here with us every week, being a part of this conversation, and helping ensure that Dom and I continue to not be the smartest guys in the room. You guys are. So speaking of smart guys in the room, let's go to Billy next. Billy, in the work that you do, I'm sure that social proof and reviews mean something to you. So why don't you tell us how you use social proof to help your business?
Hey, Billy, do that. And then Jason, just to let you know, because he asked, we're going to come back to Jason right after Billy. So go on, Billy.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Good to see you. I mean, I use it all the time, obviously from a business standpoint, because people see, they see what I do, they see the reviews of my customers, and then, they get recommendations and referrals and all that stuff. So in my opinion, the world runs on social proof. The world runs on referrals. It runs on reviews. It runs on recommendations. And so, yeah, I mean, I think we're all probably doing things every single day based on other people's experience. And we're making those decisions either consciously or subconsciously based on majority. I would think that. So, and I see that, food is a little bit different. Like, I don't really care. It's like, okay, if you say like 12 people got food poisoning, I'm not going to that restaurant. But if it's like, man, the pizza was not crusty or hard enough for me, like, I don't really care about all that stuff. But if I go look at a computer that cost me $1,000 and it's like, yeah, it didn't turn on, and there's like 5 reviews that say that, I'm out. I'm out of here. I'm going. See ya. I'll go look for something else. I mean, but that's what YouTube's made out of, like a ton of stuff. I mean, not everything, but a ton of recommendations. And so, yeah, I think we're all trying to help each other. And so,
Billy, how
who
do you
knows?
use it in your own business? What are you doing to use that? The testimonials, the endorsements, the proof. Is there a way to leverage it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's like, you know, I do the basics, probably what a lot of people do, just make sure it's, if I get reviews, I don't do, you know, most of my stuff is overseas, so I'm not really like driving traffic anywhere, but I do have a couple things posted on my website. I do a lot of work off of Fiverr for companies to find me on there, and so those reviews are huge. And those reviews are not only huge for people looking to hire me, but they're also huge for the algorithm. It's like, it tells the platform, yep, this guy's trusted. People say he's going to show up and do the work and deliver on what he said he's going to do. So I think on a lot of levels, it's very important for us to, even if not as a consumer, but definitely as a producer, to have those and readily available.
Good stuff, man. Appreciate you. Okay, Jason, you wanted to add? I'm sorry I backtracked a little bit, but go on, my friend.
Thank you. I just wanted to add that was a perfect example in throughout your show today. If it wasn't John or Julie going back and forth at it, or even Tom and Dom going at it at times, you know, that's social proofing right there. Because when people don't see friction, they don't see comments, they don't see like reviews. If you go and tell me, say your show is in the top 100 of all time, let's say DIYs, you know, and I don't see comments, I don't see things, or I go and I see it and just people are always, you know, kumbaya, hunky dory. I'm not really going to be interested where there's no heat. If it's cold, it's cold, you know. But when people don't realize, even sometimes that negative press for social proofing, it just boosted your brand to where people are talking about it and checking it out. And you know, like for example, the most recent one, the kangaroo dancer herself from breakdancing, right? She got so much social proof because people are making so many damn memes about her. But where are they checking her out? She's using it to her advantage. I mean, she's a global phenom, and people are like, wouldn't you be embarrassed? I mean, yeah, initially, yeah, but she's getting funded for all this heat, you know. So I think it's also a chess play, you know. Sometimes that careful banter radio shows that I like to listen to. I love two guys going at it about sports. So I just wanted to add that. So thanks, guys.
Okay, Jason, you got a skull from Billy when you were talking, and I think a question from John. John, so then I got to ask you a question afterwards. Go on.
Jason made a really good point. And just for clarification, Julie is a friend. I trust Julie implicitly. I jokingly tell her she's like the neighbor across the street I want to hang out with. What you heard, I do not do reviews. I don't care about it. But what you heard was a little forced drama to lighten the room to get some controversy. Every now and then I do that with Tom as well. Dominick, if we disagree, we usually agree on things. So it's more for effect than it is. However, the point remains the same. I don't really care about social proof in the sense that people push it in here. So having said that, I want people to realize a lot of what we said, what Julie and I did back and forth, was for effect more so than content.
And we appreciate you. We appreciate the banter. Me and Tom love a good banter. Okay,
you
here's
love
the question.
Banter, you two, don't you? But the hat, the cat lady suit, and the
cat lady suit. Tell me about the cat lady.
All right. First of all,
here we
John
go.
J added the lady to it. Thanks, John. Appreciate it, buddy.
Hey, go on, Tom. Here's what I want to know, John. This, to push a button, what do you think? Like, so I'm not a podcaster. Like, this isn't a podcast. We do it here. We stream it. So I don't know about podcasting. I hear a lot of people say that they're number one, or they're this, or they're the greatest podcaster of all time. And since I don't know about it, sometimes I'll go and I'll look on like YouTube, and their YouTube has 4 views and something else has no views. And I'm thinking to myself, what they're telling me doesn't match up with what I am seeing with my knowledge. But am I wrong here, John, or what's going on?
Yeah, I think you are wrong, Dom.
Okay.
For example, I was listening to a show on a podcast called Grow the Show the other day, which is a great podcast. And they had a host on there, and he said he made the tease was he made $1 million a year off his podcast. I mean, 7 figures. And then the guy says, "Well, actually, no, I make 7 figures off my media company. I make 6 figures off my podcast." I went to Listen Notes, looked at his podcast. It's the exact same ranking as mine. Exact. Which, if you go to my Facebook page, you're going to see over 60,000 followers. If you go to my YouTube page, which I never post on, you're going to see maybe 8, and you won't see much comment. I put up a video, and I'll close on this. I put up a video of German Shepherd canine dog that was stabbed. They're rushing to the hospital on Facebook. It got 360,000 views. I put the exact same video with the exact same verbiage on YouTube. It got 8. So just because where you're at, where you're looking, they may not be getting a lot of traction out, but they're getting a lot of traction elsewhere. And the last little caveat I'll add in there is what you said an important thing. What you see is not the insights that they see. If they're really smart about what they do, they're going to check that and see which breeds the most engagement and go with there, and that be the guide. So you as a consumer, you may not see much, but that's like the tip of the iceberg. You know what I mean?
Okay, good stuff. Because like I said, I don't know where to look, and I don't even really have every time, like when I do listen to podcasts, I don't even really know how to do it on my phone. I go through my phone most of the time, or I'll listen to somebody's on YouTube. It always seems like a process. So I don't necessarily have Spotify yet, or then I go on Apple and they're not on Apple. So I'm looking somewhere else when somebody tells me they're the best. I'm like, oh, I'll go check this guy out. And I'm not finding the information to match up with what I'm hearing sometimes. That's why I asked, thought you would know. Thank you. Billy, you were raising your hand. Billy, then we're coming to you, Heather. Go on, Billy.
Well, I was just going to ask John if he views all that engagement, those likes, those views as social proof.
No, but here's what I do use it for. The advertisers and sponsors really care about it, and they use it for generating revenue. So, for example,
that's social proof. Would you agree?
No, it's not. When I think of social proof in podcasting, it's reviews and ratings. And people keep saying you got to do that. And they'll pitch in their show, hey, leave me a review and rating. Well, if we look at it, there's only 2 platforms you can do that on, number one. Number two, it doesn't do anything to grow your show. It doesn't do anything to grow your chartings. It doesn't do anything at all. So it's a wasted effort. When we look at numbers of followers, like email subscribers, all that stuff, yeah, that's stuff I work for, and that's stuff that advertisers want to get. So it is revenue. But as far as social proof in the way what someone else thinks of what I do, no, I don't do that at all.
But if you look at a post that has 3 million views, are you more apt to watch it versus if you see something that has 100 views or 100 likes?
No, absolutely not.
I am. If I see something that's 100 likes, I'm like, wow, what is this? Why are they? Sometimes I'll even look at that first before I even view it.
I have to
Part of it
disagree
is
with
I
John.
don't look at that. And here's the reason why. There used to be some movie critics that were big. I know you're younger than me. Siskel and Ebert were some, and there's other ones that are really big. And they were talking about these movies that were so phenomenal. And they're going to win these Emmy Awards and Oscars or whatever it is. And I watch them and they're garbage. I leave after 5 minutes. They don't suit my fancy at all. So you got a way to get my interest. That's what's in the social media world is through your caption and your artwork. That's what's got my attention. How many people responded to it? I really don't even look at that.
I don't know about that because you know what? I've heard a lot of different perspectives, and social proofing visually may not always what you think it is, because even when I was listening to your show yesterday and you're talking about statistics, even when you refer to listen notes, that's social proofing right there. And when you go and say, well, video didn't work for me. Well, if you never did allegedly the concentrated video work, but yet you focus on making visuals, which is video work, to bring traction to your people, you are social proofing what people do, where they drop, where they enter, where they invest. People do the new things of analytics. People are paying so much more attention to more often, and that makes us changed because we have to really concentrate on what best works for their interests and what we're bringing to the table. Because that's why, like, as I take the great words that you say, John, but it's, they're not here about me. They're here for the content I get that's in it for them. So there is always a visual social proof. And if you haven't done the work, fine, get the people to do it for you. It's just like you can't compare and say, well, I don't have that social proofing never worked for me. But if you never did it, you never put
I
time
did
into
do
it.
it. That's the thing you're assuming.
But you
I
never
didn't
got
do it.
past beginner. So
I
how
did.
how
All
in
right,
the
all
heck
right,
can
hold
you
on.
pass
Okay,
that?
okay,
hold on.
okay.
Everybody
Sorry,
stop
man, but you
for a
can't.
second.
I'm going
One
to
at a
call for what
time.
it is.
No,
One at a
you're going to
time.
assume
One
you
at a
know what
time,
it
guys.
is, and you don't.
John, take a second to respond. One at a time. John, take a second to respond, and then we'll keep going. Okay. So go
And
ahead.
we'll have
John.
to go. Yeah, it'll be show and tell time afterwards. Go. Let's give them each 30 seconds and go on. Go on, John.
What I say all the time is I did video, I did audiograms, I did reels, I did all that stuff, and none of it increased my listenership. None of it increased where I generate my revenue from. That's what I tell people times. So, for video for me does not work. That's what I tell people. If it works for you, I always say this: continue doing what you're doing. And I did it for a long time. I just don't do it anymore because it creates more work. It doesn't bring response.
Thanks, John. Yeah, I mean, I think all you guys, it's interesting to hear everybody's different perspectives on things. And I like that it's getting a little riled up. It kind of takes the heat off of Dom and I a little bit when the conversation gets lively like this, and also is a little bit of dare I say, social proof that we struck a chord, and this is a topic worth discussing. So thanks for that. Also, I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm just going to say this before we go on to Dom's show and tell for the week. I just want to throw this out there. I sometimes, this is in response to what Billy was asking about, with like when you see a video with, a certain number of views, are you more likely to watch it? Sometimes I will intentionally watch something because it has very few views, or it has negative reviews, and that's because I'm a little bit of a contrarian, and I kind of want to see if I think it's good or I think it's worth watching, even if a bunch of other people didn't or don't. So anyway, that's something I like to do sometimes. I will intentionally go out of my way to watch something or listen to something or read something that is either poorly reviewed or not has not been viewed very often, just because I'm a contrarian and I like to be different. So yeah.
Let me jump in on that real quick. And just on a thought process, like when I went to the Bahamas, me and my wife went to Bahamas first time ever, and we watched all these videos on Bahamas, right? And really, we were watching the ones with the most views. Where me, I got this much most views under X amount of time. That's my okay, you got me for this much time. But I'm wondering, a lot of this, whether it's books on Amazon and reviews and products on Amazon, or views on YouTube, a lot of the algorithms, the algorithm wants endorsements, the algorithm wants views, and they are more likely to show it with for books. If you have 100 reviews on your books, 100 verified reviews, they're down in the little things right below everybody else's book. So I see that too. Go on.
Yeah, well, and I would also argue, to that point, or like along those lines, I would argue that often there's a misperception or a wrongful correlation between popularity and quality, right? Just because something has become popular or become viral or been promoted by an algorithm doesn't mean that it's good. And actually, personally, I find a lot of pleasure in, and sometimes joy in, sort of discovering the hidden gem. And I think a lot of people do, right? The sort of like the open secret, like, hey, I bet you didn't know. And like one of the things, it's one of those things I tell people all the time when they're talking about coming to visit New York, right? Like this is not really that much of a secret. I've been saying this for a long time. It used to be much less well known than it is now, but like the easiest, fastest, most affordable way to go see New York Harbor and the Statue of Liberty and see views of Southern Manhattan and the financial district and One World Trade and the Brooklyn Bridge and all of those things from the water is to simply go down to Battery Park and hop on the Staten Island ferry, which is free. And you ride it over to Staten Island, you get off, you get right back on, and you ride it back to Manhattan. And you go right past the Statue of Liberty. You don't get as close as like the tours and stuff, but you go right past the Statue of Liberty. You get amazing views of Southern Manhattan. You get to see New York Harbor. You get to see the Brooklyn Bridge right from the water, and it's all free. And it's super easy to do. There's a subway stop right at the ferry terminal in Battery Park, right? So like it's one of those things I tell people all the time. It's a little like sort of hidden gem, right? It's one of those things that not everybody knows about. And if you do your research on visiting New York, you will find that out. You'll see other people tell you about it. You'll find videos about it online, but it's one of those things. Like sometimes there's a lot of pleasure. There's a lot of joy in like sort of discovering and then being able to share that hidden gem with people. So that's, but to that point, like just don't confuse, right? Correlation is not causation, right? Don't confuse something being popular with it necessarily being good. Right? Popularity is not always a sign of quality, right? So there's that. And with that said, Dom, we're now 4 minutes late for show and tell. So what do you got, buddy? Well, you got yourself on mute first. That's what you got.
Man, what a lame way to get into show and tell. Okay, so today for show and tell, I'm going to show you something special. I mentioned earlier that I got some weird ailments right now. I blame falling off my bike. My Achilles hurts, my calves hurt, my heels hurt. I know I got 3 hernias. Now, the weirdest thing, my back is seizing up, like locking. So all of a sudden I bend down and I can't go straight. The other day I went on a boat with a buddy and we're walking up through the woods afterwards. And I'm like, and I had to like get up against a tree and like, he thought he like left me and walked away, and there's a steep incline, and I'm like, Nick, where'd you go, Nick? And he was like, I thought you were kidding around. No, I couldn't move, dude. So today's show and tell, because my wife loves me so much, she let me, Billy, I should do an Amazon review. My wife let me use her fancy heating pad, and it's got a couple settings on it, high and low, but this heating pad, something about it, I can move it right up and down my spine. It adjusts behind me. I feel like a new man for the hour we're doing Not the Smartest Guys in the Room. So maybe just getting the right heat on my back is going to start impacting positively all these other elements. Once I get that aligned, I'll be back. But I blame the manhole in the town I live in that I hit when I fell off my bike, and ever since then things have been odd. So there you go, Tom.
Dom, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel like I'll say this first, and then I'm going to ask the question. So the first thing is, I feel like you are embodying, you're like almost like playing the role of like how people describe what happens to you in your 40s. Right? Like, I feel like you are epitomizing the stereotype of like what happens in your 40s, right? First of all, with like 3 hernias and this hurts and that hurts, and I couldn't stand up straight in my back and whatever.
Check. Yeah.
So that said, I just have a question, and maybe your old buddy Jim can help you out if you don't.
Okay,
know.
Let's see. He would like to, if he can rip on me, he'll jump in. So go on.
But do you know a physical therapist?
Do I know a physical therapist? Yeah.
Do you have a friend or somebody, an acquaintance who's a physical therapist?
Now you're talking physical therapy, not chiropractor.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. So then I'm going to go to this physical therapy. I've been, and they lift your leg like 10 times. They're like, okay, 10 times with this foot, 10 times with this foot. Then they walk around the place for a half hour. They come back to you and they're like, did you lift your foot 10 times? I'm like, yeah, I did that 50 times, rode my bike 10 miles. And then they're like, okay, lift again 10 times with your left. I mean, what? That's why I can't do that. Come on.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know what physical therapist you're talking about. What I'm suggesting is go to a friend, right? Or if you don't have a friend who's a physical therapist, talk to maybe your buddy Jim can help you out, or somebody else in your circle is a friend, like has a friend who's a physical therapist, right? Go to that person and talk to them and explain to them some of these things that are going on, right? And then maybe go see them in a professional capacity, get some prescribed exercises from them, and then actually do them regularly for a long period of time. Jim, by the way, in the chat says that you use these excuses to get out of hanging out with your friends. So he might be a little bit bitter, but genuinely, as somebody who, by all rights, should be having some of the similar complaints to what you're having, right? I credit two things with the fact that I don't, right? One is that I do regular strength and mobility workouts at least 2 times a week, in addition to all the other exercising that I do. I do regular strength and mobility workouts at least 2 times a week, right? I do a variety of different athletic activities, right? And I listen to my body and I pay attention to when it tells me things. And I do research to figure out what's actually going on. So that's the thing, is I think you need to get to the bottom of what the problem is, what's causing some of these aches and pains, and then do something to fix the root of the problem, because the heating pad may help you feel better in the near term, right? Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's definitely not going to fix whatever's causing your back to seize up. It's not going to fix it, right? It's a Band-Aid. It's not a cure. Just saying.
That's fair. That's fair. Hey, Billy, if you go to the live stream, I'm hugging this heating pad right now, and I should do one of those videos, product videos, saying how great this heating pad is. Hey, by the way, Billy, I tried to send you I wanted to send you a video last week of you talking about how you were 440 months old or something like that, but I need you. DM me your email and I'll send you something. Okay, Carrie Brett, not the smartest guys in the room. Tom, we are to Carrie. We've been talking about social proof today. Carrie's in the photography business. I would think good photos would be a huge social proof when somebody says, look at the photos she's already doing. So do you value it? Is there a way we can leverage it? Carrie, what do you got for us?
Well, sure, I can speak about that, but I came up on stage because I know chronic pain. There isn't a photographer out there that doesn't have back, neck, or knee problems. And I've had 2 ruptured discs. I was supposed to get my neck fused twice, and physical therapy didn't do anything for me. I did every type of thing known to man. But I do have a holistic healer who's Tom Brady's doctor, who's amazing. And I take this stuff called Nervogesic every day. And you can get it on Amazon. It's standard process. I don't leave home without it. If you're interested, let me know. And the other thing you can do is go to Whole Foods or wherever and get a 5-pound bag of magnesium salt and take a salt bath. I did that through the night, some nights. It's helped tremendously because magnesium, we lack it. So anyways, just a tip there if anyone's interested. As far as social proof, I'll be honest. I'm being asked for my business card now on the beach when I'm shooting. I think I have more impact in the community, networking in person, than I have any impact online. I think online is kind of window dressing and people are like, oh, yeah, I like those images, but I don't know that it makes me money. If I am in a group, I go to a party, I end up with like 5 jobs. So that's the images. Of course, you got to have a solid brand, do great work, but I'm kind of down on social media lately, and that's just my honest opinion.
Tom, have at it, my friend.
No, I mean, all good. Look, I think at the end of the day, when it comes to the impact that different mediums have, it shifts, right? There are going to be times when social media carries more weight than, shooting in person on the beach, right? And vice versa. So I think, that's going to shift from time to time. But I don't think I would ever discount either entirely, right? There are always going to be times that people do some research on you. You might meet somebody on the beach, but then they want to go and check out some more of your work. Well, where are they going to find it? They're going to find it online, right? So somebody might ask you for your card on the beach, but it's important that you maintain a presence online, because then people are going to go and look up more of your work, learn more about you, maybe read some of those reviews or testimonials, and then make a decision about whether or not to hire you, right? Or look for sort of justification or proof that they should hire you based on their impression for meeting you in person. So I would say don't discount it. It may be, the problem is that it's very hard to track directly. And that's the problem we run into, is people want like a one for one. Often, we look for a metric that says clearly, I did this and this was the result. I can clearly draw a line from one to the other, so I know without a shadow of a doubt this is why this happened. And let's be honest, the world is a lot more complicated than that. There are many things that influence decisions that we make, many things that influence the behaviors that we engage in on a day-to-day basis. And the likelihood is that it's much more than just one thing that ultimately influenced the decision. So I would say probably like I would just caution people against wholly discounting one aspect or one place. That's all I would say. Anything you want to add there, Dom, or are you gonna turn around and say you've talked too much?
You have me at about that time of day before my heating pad runs out of heat, which it goes all day, Tom. It goes all day. I want to say you guys were fiery today. Everybody was fiery. You brought the A game. Good subject choice, Tom. And we're not arguing over, like, we don't ever want to get in here and split hairs over the pronunciation of a word or how we're just talking about the overall value of these things. Can we use them? How should we? Can they hurt you? And can we grow our businesses? Are there usages, maybe things that we're not thinking about? So I really want to say I appreciate everybody jumping in and saying, hey, I feel like this about it or like that. And it will always be, this is, I think me and Tom pride ourselves on this. This will always be a safe space, whether you're just starting out, whether you're thinking about starting out, or you sold 10 million books, or had, made $10 million podcasting. We will give you the floor. We'll push back on you at times and things like that. But that's what we do here. So, Tom, at that point now, I have talked too much. I am boring myself. So go on, my friend.
Thanks, Dom. All right, so I'm gonna be quick today. I just have one thing that I want to highlight that's kind of like present in my mind or front of mind based on the conversation that we had today here on Not the Smartest Guys in the Room, and that is that when we get into a conversation that becomes a bit of a debate, right, and people push back and forth, what I really think we're doing in those instances is debating and using critical thinking to play a role in decision making and sharpening our critical thinking skills, pushing each other to think more in a more detailed way, including more nuance in our thinking about certain subjects. I think is really important and really valuable. And genuinely, it's one of my favorite things that happens in this room sometimes is pushing each other a little bit and challenging each other's assumptions and challenging each other's perceptions so that we are forced to think more critically, because I think it's an incredibly important skill that often we don't exercise enough, that we don't practice enough, and we don't hone enough, because at the end of the day, the better we are at critical thinking, right, in our own lives, and we only get there through practice, through exercising those muscles, the better we are at critical thinking, the better decisions we're going to make in our lives and the better outcomes we're going to have. And so that's what I take away from today's room, today's debate and discussion on social proof, is that we spent the last hour honing our critical thinking skills, and I really enjoy that, and I appreciate it, and I hope I will be able to take that forward today and use it towards making better decisions and continuing to make good decisions in my life. And I hope everybody else feels the same way. So that's all I got to say about today. Thank you guys all for being here. Thank you for being active participants in Not the Smartest Guys in the Room. As we said before, we couldn't and wouldn't do it without you. So thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you guys. We love you guys. And we will see you guys next Wednesday on Not the Smartest Guys in the Room at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. For Dom, I'm Tom. Thanks so much. We love you guys. We'll see you soon. Until we see you again, have a great rest of your week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.